we're trying to compose everything so that it's excellent. I mean, I think the April series that we're like half through, or maybe a little past half, has been really wonderful. And it has the multi-dimensionality that that we try to bring to everything. And, but it's a very small scale. It's much more intimate, it's much more personal. In a way, the April series learned a lot from the underline salons, in that we don't serve food, but it's personable. The environment is nice. The way we treat each other at it, is nice, and it's got this good energy that's spreading into the community, and I'm very thankful for it. And it is the team that makes it possible. And then the panels have for me been this. It's sort of like it's an opportunity to bring the community together, and where we challenge each other about what is possible in terms of our social impact, our impact on society, and our responsibility as artists. So that has to be all well designed. We also, the survivability of Arts for Art is dependent on raising a lot more money. And the pressure for that has increased, I know, exponentially, seems a little dramatic, but considerably. And probably that's what I'm actually feeling right now, is that. And it's not that I think I can't do it or that we can't do it, but it's scary. And also, I mean, I feel like I'm going about it in the correct way. I guess what I'm doing is I'm going around asking for help, but I'm asking for help in a way that I'm trying to remind people that that art makes a difference, that art in general, that art that puts itself on the line, that is always trying to not only look inward and look outward at the same time. That's what I'm always looking for. This and this. I mean, you can't say you want peace in the world or an end to violence or an end to racism and injustice, and not also look at yourself. But art is, for me, like key, because it deals in what I call magic. It deals in magic, and it has a transformative effect. Because what moves you to do anything? What moves you is not your head, it's your heart. And so this kind of a mindful approach in your art gives you the opportunity to affect people's hearts. And I keep on asking my audience, or the audience for the art that we present, I keep asking them to be mindful and to be aware that they're part of the performance. I talk about this a lot, or I think I talk about it pretty regularly. And because if they realize that you're not just coming to a show to keep a chair warm and hope that they get entertained and hope they get moved. But if they realize that they're moving with the art, that how responsive and how open they are is actually affecting what they're hearing and what they're seeing, it changes the energy in the room. And a lot of this is, I use the word magic because it speaks to the instantaneous nature of it, the inexplicable for most of us, most of the time, nature of it. But there's science behind this. I mean, I'm not a scientist, so couldn't break it down for you. But there is science behind it because I know enough to know that my body looks like it's solid and ends here, but we're actually vibrating. And if you looked at us under special things, you would see that we blur. We blur with the air around us. We're not like a solid edge as we seem. And so how we interrelate is much more than, it's much more than just, you're there, I'm here, I'm speaking, and like, all right, I'll go home and take, if that's all there is, then you put up a barrier. And the other thing is, another aspect of, another side to all of this is, I was at church the other day, and the priest reminded me of something I knew, but it's like it's been helping me so much. And he said that we only know someone if we love them. And if we don't, so it's knowing through the act of loving. It's this, and it's the same thing with receiving music and art, or painting or dance or whatever. We must know it better by how much we listen in a way that's loving. That's why critics never get it. Because they're not listening with love. I mean, they would think that wasn't unobjective, but then they'll never know it. It's the irony. I think the closest way we get to be objective is to realize that our ability to see and hear is just ours, and it's not the only one. And so objectivity is a consensus rather than anything else. It's like a kind of a consensus, knowing that you don't have all the answers. So then that's it's all this humbling stuff, which people in this world are just not necessarily into.
So when you're dancing, or when you're organizing, or when you're at home raising a family, or just talking to people, passing people in the street, are you carrying the same sort of idea of love and also this lack of separation? And how do they inform one another, these different areas that we might think of as being separate, such as like music and dance and visual art and home life and political work and that sort of thing?
Well, first of all, I must remind you, I am not perfect. Okay, now we got that out of the way. So I'm not, I'm not utterly consistent. I think as I get older, I get more consistent because you have more time to figure it out and to balance yourself. And I think so you get better at it, but then it's getting better at it even. I think I'm not answering your question, by the way. I'll answer it in a minute. So first I'm going to say this. You come into this world, everyone comes in with different abilities, different strengths, different weaknesses, and we journey. And I think the lucky ones really keep self-improving. And I think they're lucky and blessed, but they're there to be a blessing for others. Because every gift you have is a gift that was given to you to share. All right, now to answer your question. First of all, dance and music are almost the same thing to me. To me, it's about listening. To me, I think improvisation specifically, maybe more than just music or dance, specifically improvisation, but any choreography too or composition, it's about listening. You listen to the music or the dance that comes to you to do. You're respectful of what's coming through you. And what's coming through you, it's like there's a certain amount of like getting out of the way. You want to get out of the way and let it flow. And then you want to, and you listen, and you keep opening yourself up to listen more. I listen to what I feel coming through me. I listen to you. I listen to you. I listen to everyone. I listen to the energy from the art in the room. I feel it, and it informs me. I think in relationships we get stupid. I think most people we really think that our partners are going to, this is like for the first 10 years or so. Your partner is going to make it right somehow. They're going to be the right for you. I think they have all these ideas, like you have these ideas, like because you're in love, you fall in love, and this perfect person is so beautiful, and they're wonderful, and you're so open and full of joy, and then you gradually realize you're like this. Hey, wait, I thought you were going to catch me. I was falling and you didn't catch me. And then, something like that. So that's, there's that. And then you realize that you're responsible for your own happiness. And then you really can be with the other person, and it's really back to, you learn, I didn't come into this world knowing all this stuff. I've learned it along the way. And then with children, I don't remember what I knew exactly when I was beginning, but I know with my eldest, with my daughter, I felt like as I loved her and was a mother to her, I also was loving to myself. Somehow that giving to her was giving to me. And in some way, I got stronger and stronger as I parented my daughter. My son, it was different. Maybe it's because mother-daughter. I don't know. Maybe it's the first child. But you just make a lot of mistakes. And then my only wisdom there was that, you probably can't do anything except make mistakes. And it's for your child to solve those mistakes and sort of center themselves, because it's a relationship, and you have, but it's the expectations that one has of others that make it hard. So as you learn to just love, you do. You just do that's the best you can do. And some kids want you to be really clear, and some kids want you to give them all the freedom to decide everything for, so they can figure it out. And you can't, you just do your best, and so I really try to be a really good mother. My kids have their issues, but that's okay. It's what it is, So but one of the things I always say is that, like, you're only one person. You're not in pieces. I've told this to Miriam many times. Isaiah doesn't let me tell him so many things. But anyway, you're not in pieces. You're not part anything. And I'm not part dancer, part choreographer, part mom, part wife, part keep the house clean. I'm just me. And,
So do you feel that being in a community and working to build a community for you and your own process of this, does it come from this kind of place that we're all whole and together we're a whole and there's a connection between all these different things?
There's different kinds of community, I guess, because the first thing I was thinking of when you said that was Dorothy Day and the Catholic Worker. And they lived in community. They lived, people would share everything, and and it was very much about non-judgment and being holy and accepting and taking care of the poor and taking the coat off your back if someone else needed it, and just non-judgment. I like people like, there's ideas of egalitarianism that when we first started, I helped with the Sound Unity festivals, especially the first Sound Unity festival, I guess I'm a bad at dates, I think it was 84. But anyway, there they paid every performer exactly the same thing. So that was, bands didn't get paid, performers got paid. And everyone got paid exactly the same thing. And it was beautiful. But I didn't think it was fair. I thought, so the way I did it was I paid the big stars a lot less than they normally would get paid, but I acknowledged them. It was, to me, a sign of respect. And I made sure everyone got paid. So the differences in what you got wasn't so big, but it was all about treating people with respect. And treating everyone exactly the same doesn't feel respectful to me usually, because I just don't think it's true. I think you're asking too much of the people who've really, and on one hand, you're asking too much of the people who've really achieved a lot, and asking nothing of the people who haven't bothered to achieve anything yet. You're just giving them. And it just doesn't feel right to me. So, I mean, we all have our different ways of balancing it, but I also thought that, I have this idea of fairness. Of course, it's personal. I mean, not everyone will agree with me, but I have this sense of what's fair in a situation, and I try to be fair. My opinion, in the end, because I'm in charge. And I know I've given my life to trying to actualize ideals. So it's not just something you read about, it's something you can live and breathe with. I felt like, but it's particularly in the last few years, I felt like I needed to pay more attention to my own art. In a way, everything I do is compositional, choreographic. I really absolutely feel that way. But it's different than making a dance and making your own personal art. And I felt that I was disrespecting something that, it's like if a vision comes to you and it's your job to actualize that vision. Well, a lot of these ideas, these idealistic ideas, are really my ideas. And and they're very specific to creation of art. And I need to take that more seriously. You see, because I also believe that art is a gift and a responsibility. It's not an ego. It's not like, it's not like, oh, look at me. I'm marvelous. Oh. But it's something that's coming. It's knocking at the door of your consciousness, and it's saying, "Let me out." And like Wadada Leo Smith said at the salon yesterday, he said something I deeply agree with, that art you're an artist only if there's nothing else you can do. Then you have to do it. That's what it is. If you have to do it, then you should do it. If you don't have to do it, do something else. And so that recalls, for me, the relationship to the divine. It's not about me, it's about the work itself. But if you that's on the one hand. Then you have to learn that on the other hand, if you don't, it's not, like, I used to be like this. I'm trying not to be like, I'm trying to be more like owning it and as a level of taking responsibility for it. And also because human beings need to have something they can point to. And so it's something you have to do. If you have to do it, that's it. You just have to do it.
So some of these political ideals that we've talked about, ideas of justice and fairness, how do they emerge from what you learn as a dancer? Or how do they inform what you practice as a dancer?
I don't think they came one from the other. I think they came up simultaneously. I learned, when I was 3, I told my mother, so the story goes, I told my mother I want to be a dancer. My mother was always active in social justice issues as I was growing up, so it was just part of life. I'm doing the piece I'm working on right now is called Because I Am Breathing. And it's a short line from me, a long poem, because I write short poems. It's a few pages, that's very long for me. But Because I Am Breathing that's why I do what I do. I dance because I'm breathing. If I don't dance, then I lose myself. And then I have to, and I feel very uncomfortable in my body, in my, not just my body, in my soul and my being. If I don't, and then like it confused me, like, well, you do all this organization work, why don't you just dance? Why don't you just do this? Well, for me, I realized it really was very close. They're very, very close. It just because it's who I am. Because I am breathing, because I'm alive. It's my job, I feel, to do what I'm doing. Why this job came to me, I have no idea. When I get a chance to, I'm going to ask some questions about that myself. If I get that opportunity, I will say, why? Why, really? Was this all necessary? And maybe I'll be told, no, it wasn't. You just did it. Or I'll be told, yes, that was a good job. Or no, well, you were a little crazy, but, we love you anyway. I don't know. But it's just it just feels right. And I worry, as I get older, like, I have to make sure that I've made it clear. That's why it's like so important to me. That's why I'm so obsessed, is because I want to make the work clear. And also you have to wait and you look around you at the world, and I feel like it's like, even though it's a very dark time, it's also, I feel like the seeds of everyone waking up, And so like, this is like this clearer statement of what is possible, of what bringing all these things together without asking anyone to compromise. The art shouldn't compromise to carry a political message. It just needs to be contextualized. Just because we're human beings, we're not just one thing. We're not just an artist. We are. So we are, and we share this world together. And if we understand how we share and how we can interact, hey, wow, that's all I can say. Then everything is possible. Everything is possible. If people wake up and be mindful and humble at the same time. Humility is a great thing. It's a gift. It's a great thing. People think humility is giving something up, but it's like letting go of a weight so that you're free to move. If you're a dancer, that's a good thing. If you're a human being, it's pretty nice too.